Hello everyone, name's Luke Ripa and welcome back to another review for Wikos. Today we're going to talk about Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Yet another Part 1 in this Hollywood climate. We had Spider-Man, we had Fast 10 and Dune a couple of years back now. This is the 7th installment in the Mission Impossible franchise. Since Rogue Nation, we had a storyline that carries over onto the next one. This is not as a direct sequel to Fallout as Fallout was to Rogue Nation. So, what's the plot of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning? A weaponized AI system becomes sentient and goes rogue, and nothing but a set of keys can stop it. Ethan Hunt and his team are tasked to retrieve it. However, the AI forms an alliance with a very old pro from Ethan's pre-IMF past, making this mission the toughest mission Ethan has ever faced. First, very brief opinion about the movie. It is very long, admittedly, but the running time is very well managed as the action is bombastic, it's fast-paced, and it's very well placed throughout the movie. And the action and the dramatic parts are very well balanced. We have an intro that is very similar to the one we saw in Ghost Protocol, and basically it's a prologue where Ethan Hunt is nowhere to be seen. And this time it's not even about an IMF mission went wrong, like again Ghost Protocol, but it's exactly what the US government was trying to do with this AI before it went rogue. And it's basically the basis of the whole story and very likely what's the basis of what we're gonna see in Dead Reckoning Part 2. On technical terms, this movie is really good again, but it's not Fallout good, and let me explain that. Fallout is arguably one of the best action movies ever made, probably, and definitely in the top 5 action movies from the 2000s onward. What made Fallout great was the very authorial visuals that the movie had, especially in terms of cinematography. Here, the cinematography in the Reckoning Part 1 is a little bit more basic, easier to the audience. However, what I really liked is the smart use of match framing between moments. So there is especially one particular moment that we are going to talk about later when I expand about the story that really puts to doubt what happened in that moment. And in general, the movie takes advantage of the fact that there is an AI to go rogue and has access to pretty much everything. And therefore, the cinematography and the editing takes advantage of that, constantly put in doubt whether it's real what you're seeing or not. Other technical things, special effects are great, of course. Even the jumping, the stunt looks real. You don't see the ramp, the mountain looks real. The soundtrack is also very effective. The way they interpreted the Mission Impossible theme from Rogue Nation onward is again here with the orchestra, and it's very effective, very powerful. And honestly, it's a bit of workout music to me also because it pumps me up, but I'm weird, I like movies, so I use soundtracks to pump me up when I work out. Let's talk about the biggest part of this movie, especially being a part 1. Does it feel like its own movie? Yes and no. The movie ends with a cliffhanger, but not as big as Dune or Fast 10 or Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It's a cliffhanger because the story is obviously not completed. The ending is closer to Infinity War was to Endgame. Like, it's a movie and it ends like that. There's obviously gonna be a sequel, but you had the feeling you watched a movie that has a beginning and an end. With that out of the way, Dead Reckoning Part 1 follows the classic MI formula. There is something going on that goes to shit, basically. And of course, they call Ethan Hunt to try and save the day. But of course, being a part 1, the formula is expanded. In fact, here, for the first time ever in the Mission Impossible franchise, we have an expansion of the lore, or mythology, if you prefer that. We explained at a certain point of the movie how they are recruited, the agents, and that is connected directly to Ethan's past. And also, the main human villain of the movie is directly connected to Ethan's pre-IMF past, and I have a feeling that the beginning of Part 2 will indeed be the expansion of that backstory and how Kittredge, returning from Mission Impossible 1, will hire him and make Ethan the IMF agent that eventually will be the guy that saves the world basically every chance he gets. And talking about Mission Impossible 1, there are a lot of callbacks to that movie. Going back to the ambiguous use of cinematography and the editing, they have a very almost diegetic role into the narration of the film. If you pay attention, there are some moments that are really obvious. Eyes, we talk about eyes, they're gonna be really obvious, but other are gonna be less obvious, and I think they're gonna fully pay back in the sequel. The story also presents some new entries, okay, the returns of Kittredge, but this new / old foe, although we never seen him before in the Mission Impossible franchise, Gabriel, that's his name, he is very threatening, and while he's not physically powerful, the way Ethan reacts to him, the way he deals with him, it's very clear that he is a very powerful guy that you don't want to mess with. And again, although the editing and the cinematography in that moment, it's very ambiguous, at the same time, it appears that he knows when and how to hurt Ethan. Another cool new entry is the character of Paris, played by Pom Klementieff. She doesn't have a lot of dialogues, but she's a war machine. She's very stylistic, and the way the character is presented is very cool. The other new entry is Grace, played by Hayley Atwell, and she does a fantastic job being someone she's hired, but she doesn't really know what she got herself into. The whole cast does a fantastic job. We don't need to talk about Tom. He always kills it in these movies. In the Mission Impossible franchise, he doesn't have one bad performance. He always tries to risk his life to entertain us. Simon Pegg, Ving Rhames, Hayley Atwell, Pom Klementieff, and the villain played by Esai Morales kills it in the role. So, what about the sequel? Well, they were shooting it, and I say they were. I'm doing this review right the day after SAG-AFTRA announced they are striking, so that means that actors are working out of sets because they cannot work. They cannot promote the films. Therefore, I assume that the shooting of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2 has been halted as a result. I think we're gonna see it in 2026, or maybe he's gonna be able to pull it in 2025. Anyways, how much I scored Dead Reckoning Part 1? I really liked it. I think Christopher McQuarrie and Tom Cruise are a guarantee for quality entertainment, and they give this movie 8.5 out of 10. It's entertaining, thrilling, and it is quintessential Mission Impossible. Did you watch Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1? Let me know down in the comments if you did, if you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you are waiting for, of course, Part 2. And also remember to like this video, share it, and follow us on every social media. My name is Luca Ripa, thank you so much for watching, and from the Hard Rock Cafe in Milan, Italy, I salute you, and I'll see you to the next video.